0. Let me go in and do my thing here. Yeah, I sent this lady the link, and she said, I have this habit of telling people, you want to do a show next week? And then I'll, that way I can table it and go back and field it because they'll respond.
Yeah.
But what's been happening lately is 50 messages come in, literally 50 messages come in. And then I just need to spend a day doing it. Maybe I'll do that Monday. I don't know why I'm talking about this. I'm a little bit off planet. Okay.
That's okay. I appreciate it because I'm like, oh, he's just keeping me focused. I can feel my language channel wanting to come in already.
You can. So you just do whatever you want to do. If you need to jump in and say something, do something, you go right ahead and do it. I'm going to roll the show out here in just a second. Let me see what we got here. We got 20 people in the house. We've got a real special show. I feel it. I can feel it right now. My ears are ringing. I don't know what Robin's going to do, but this ought to be interesting. All right, let me check the sound.
So can you hear me okay? Because I'm just doing it through the
yeah, you're okay.
Computer
you're good.
Microphone.
Hello, Ivania, Kumara, Jennifer Peters, Michelle Good, Mary Cooper's always here. Joanna Childs is back. Fiona Carter, that was a great show. Debbie Pillion, Kim Miller, Cindy Aldridge. Yeah, all right. 43 people in the house. Thank you. These shows resonate with you. Please share. I'm going to share through the network real quick, and then we're going to get started. Something's happening because the top of my spine's tingling now. So I think we're in for a pleasant surprise. I was real happy to see that Morgan had booked our guest. I didn't see that one coming, but that's cool. This is what it's all about. All right. So we got 50 people in the house. Thank you for your continued love, support, and contributions that allow us to keep doing what we're doing. We're pulling everything together to launch independently very soon. It's flowing very good. It's aligning very good. So let me just roll this out formally. This is Soul Speaks 5D. I'm Todd Medina. Today we're having a conversation with Robin Haywood. She's a multidimensional being in service through the Casa de Rose Temple of Light. Lineage of the Magdalene, Goddess Hathor, Mot, Sekhmet, Kali, Kuan Yin, Cosmic Christ Consciousness, Yeshua, Keeper of the Golden Light from the Great Central Sun, and the Council of Nine, as well as others known and not known yet, assisting Gaia, humanity, and beyond to send through light language transmissions, blessings, crystal bed sessions. That sounds interesting. Divinely guided Egyptian oil blends for rebirthing and supporting the body temple, as well as wife, mother, lover of life, and more. A few of her current assignments are anchoring in the new light codes, dissolving corrupt laws. I'll join you on that one. Processes and programs still running and assisting bringing the scope of ways to the sacred universal earth alignment. Robin offers healings in person and remotely. You can reach her at heywakeup.com, Facebook, or heywakeup@gmail.com. Wow, this is going to be interesting. You are a very versatile universal soldier. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you for sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence today. And welcome.
Just going to open it up. It's already been opened. Thank you. I'm honored and excited as well as nervous to be here and stepping out. But I'm so grateful for this platform that you and Morgan have birthed, and I enjoy it thoroughly and have made some wonderful connections. So thank you to everyone here watching. I saw a few of my friends up and supporting me. Yeah, so I never quite know where it's going and what's coming in. Before it started, I felt the presence of definitely the Magdalene line.
Yeah.
Magdalene. and the dove, but there's a whole new alignment, as you know, coming and anchoring in on Earth. And it's grounding in even more and more. So like sometimes I'm not sure what dimensional aspect, because there's so many shifts and changes.
Yeah. Do you have, and if you want to do anything at any time, you do it, because I feel I'm supposed to tell you that.
Yeah.
So I know I'm supposed to.
Yeah. So how I typically work is the light language weaves in and out. And so I don't really attach too much to them as in terms of what exactly is coming through, what's, what star nation or what aspect. I just allow it and trust. And so it'll weave in and out as we're creating this divine flow and voice. And so really just anchoring in for anyone who's driving, you may want to pause it for later. I'm not sure. Just as the energy is building.
I can
honor each and every person on the planet for all of the service and work, and above and below, our brothers and sisters of all nations. I'm grateful to you, and thank you. Thank you to all of the beings of light assisting humanity ascending at this time. We're holding arm in arm, hand in hand. We're joining as one nation, as one tribe, in one unity of consciousness, in one heart. Just tuning a little bit, tuning some of the fields, just anchoring and feeling the angelic energy supporting everyone. This is new. A little silent transmission. This is cool.
It's making my feet tingle.
So I feel this is really helping allow people to drop in further into the silence of their beingness.
Yeah. Yeah. Unity.
Yes.
There's a lot of colors coming through. Definitely a Yeshua Magdalene frequency coming through.
Okay.
That's telepathy, man. You're universal multilinguist.
And then the dragon energy comes through now. Oh, wow.
You're like a super highway.
Cool.
I thought you were nervous. You just jumped right into it. You carry a lot of multiple frequencies like that, because I've heard enough light language. I mean, Morgan, I've heard Morgan speak 8 or 10 different ones, and then I've heard a lot of people do it. So I can recognize. There's times I can recognize, and so I recognize like 5 or 6 different ones in your transmission. How long have you been doing this?
Well, officially, it started in 2013. Well, actually, I take that back. Officially, I believe it started in church when I was like 16 years old. But it was known as speaking in tongues.
Yeah, I've heard that before from people.
And then I had a big Kundalini activation in 2013. And it really started then. It first started with more of the angelic tones.
Yeah.
And that still, that still really comes through as well. But then it's, shifted as I've gained access to more of my multidimensional aspects. Which that's yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's what's so fascinating, interesting through the whole ascension process is reconnecting to those parts of ourselves.
Yeah.
And yet detaching from them, at the same point. And to the human, it fucks it up sometimes. It's great. It's a little crazy.
Yeah. Morgan says it's relevant till it's irrelevant. So it's relevant to get you to a certain place, and then it just becomes another story, no different than a trauma we went through in our past. Right. But what I notice about you seem to have a pretty wide range there. I can pick up on it. And so did you have anything that stuck out? I think you're at a point now where it's all the same to you, whether it's a galactic, an angelic, a divine essence, or whatever. Right. But a lot of the essences that you cited in your bio were very prominent with me in the beginning. Kuan Yin, Magdalene, of course, Jesus. But and so I guess what I'm asking is there any that you have a certain affinity for, and or to include galactics?
Gosh, that's a great question. All of them.
All of them, yeah.
They just kind of float in and out. Kuan Yin has really been floating in the past few days. As well and Yeshua.
Yeah.
As well as Ma'at.
I haven't dealt with the I've dealt with the Hathors.
Right.
But that's probably it on that end of it. You know, one thing I noticed, I don't know about you, but one thing I noticed about Yeshua and Kuan Yin, I think I've seen or connected with the Magdalene energy more than I have those two.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess what I'm saying is when I've noticed, like when Kuan Yin or Yeshua steps in, it's not very often, but when they come in, it's huge, right? I mean, it's huge. It's like, it's so familiar that it just takes a little interaction, and then I'm recharged, so to speak.
Yeah, and then that's it. Mm-hmm.
Have you now? You mentioned to me, by the way, whatever this painting or tapestry or whatever that is in the back of your, that is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. It's speaking to me volumes. I mean, I could go on and on, but this is about you.
So I do have a little story that I'll share about that. So, you know, as many of us, I'm a huge portal and activator. And there's a store called Home Goods. It's if you've heard of Home Goods. So I walked in and it was on display, and I immediately was drawn to it and thought, oh my God, I love that. So I put it up front at the cashier's stand and went on my shopping adventure. And when I went to check out, the cashier said to me, do you know, as soon as you took that off, they must have had another one in the back and they put it up front. And they said that it had been on display for 3 months and, you know, no one was interested in it. And as soon as I picked it up and they put the other one out there, someone immediately came in and purchased it as well.
Wow. I look at it and I see Sirius. I see other star family. I see Hopi.
Right.
I see like the Kachina, Blue Star. That's amazing. That's to get it at Home Goods is even more amazing. You mentioned before the show that you've been married 30 years, and that's a story in and of itself. My question is, you know, I always joke with Morgan and tell her I feel like Darren on Bewitched, you know, because she'll twinkle her nose and this happens or that happens. But is that similar to your situation? You guys have been together a long time, so you've gone through this whole evolution while you were in this relationship. Does he understand it all? I mean,
no.
So that's so how does that work? It must work. It has to work. He allows you that space, supports that space.
He does support the space. He doesn't quite get it. And it's been an interesting evolution. I mean, at times it's certainly been challenging because, you know, I've evolved and grown and shifted and changed quite a bit from being the, you know, PTA, you know,
I'll say,
and mom and you know, and mother, wife, and all that. And you know, I've always had this innate healing ability. I had heard. Here comes my cat. I had heard when I was 15, I had dislocated my knee and I popped my knee back in place, and I heard in my head, "You're a healer."
Yeah.
And I knew I could heal myself, but I had no idea what that meant because no one in my family did anything like that.
Yeah.
So going back to Pat, it's working. You know, we're navigating through it. Sometimes we totally have to have our space.
Yeah, well, of course.
Yeah. And, you know, but it works. And he doesn't believe in a lot of things that, you know, that I do.
Does he not believe, or does he just not understand?
I think it's a fear.
Fear. But you know, this is so interesting because, and I've met a couple of women like this though, but it's interesting that I don't know if I've met anyone that's been with someone 30 years and they've gone through all this transformation and changes, that's a testament to that relationship. You know, there's a gotta be a deep love connection there. So what was it like? I can imagine this guy. If I felt like barren and bewitched, I can imagine what your husband feels like. Now, so like the first time you started doing light language, what was his reaction? Or even your practices of the grid work and the different things you do?
Honestly, for quite a while, I kept it to myself. I mean, I didn't necessarily show that part of me. And Spirit kept nudging me. It was like, I, you know, if I want to be all in this relationship in this whole new way that it's evolving, that I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have to allow myself to be seen in all of me. And yeah, there were times he was like, you know, like, you can go do that over there. I don't care if you do that, but like, you know, so it's been a journey. It's been a journey to see him grow and evolve into it just kind of being like, you know, just kind of like matter of fact, every day.
I can almost see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's really kind of tickles me. Now,
yeah, right.
I mean, yeah, because I can see the level of the energy is just really smooth. You know, I mean, it's like acceptance, allowed, because so many people talk about, you know, the divine conscious unions out there, and a lot of these couples just getting together, like Morgan and I. You know, I mean, 3 years ago, whatever. To see this is a huge contrast, and I think that also is a great sign because you know, everything doesn't have a uniformity. You know, there's infinite ways to get to the same place we're all going back to, or however you want to put it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'll add that I mean, there was a point about 3 years ago, and really up until it really started shifting last year, when he finally started really addressing some of his wounds. But there was a real point where I was like, I don't know if I can do this anymore.
Yeah.
And I had to go real deep, you know, deep in my heart to get to that pure place of, no, don't leave. You know, there's the part of me is like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. Yeah. And then knowing that there is a divine conscious union that's occurring, you know, just day by day, allowance, move through it. Yeah.
You know, I was connected. I was connected in the higher dimensions from the get-go, from when I woke up 7.5 years ago. But I was very, very shadowed, and I didn't know it. And so in meeting Morgan, she told me later, she said, I never seen anything like it. You know, like, I mean, it was so polar opposite. I'm prim and proper. You're wild. You had this crazy life, and, you know, and all this stuff. And then she said to me one time, she said, I had to own everything you were. You're my divine masculine mirror, or my whatever. And I had to own every bit of it. And that's how I did it. Did you have to do something similar to that?
I have. But I would say in a lot of ways it was opposite. When I had my big Kundalini awakening, even though I had been, you know, always somewhat conscious and working on myself and transforming, it was a big, you know, almost blow up in it, like all the shadow stuff. It was the ancestors, you know, they called me forward and they're like, you know, you came here to do this work. And so it's time to do it. So I would say I probably had more shadow at that point than Pat did. So that was an interesting dynamic. So I had to own, you know, and I'm still in the process.
Yeah.
Still in the process of that. But I have had to do that with Pat as well.
Yeah.
And go into allowance. You know, there for a while I would point out different things, and I primarily have stopped doing that, and I just observe and love him and accept him.
Let's you got me on three. Let me pull them back out of the ether here. One is in regard to I think this is an extremely important subject. I've seen two ladies already write that they're in a similar situation. Alicia Smith, thank you. Our sister Echo, yes, I'm just coming out. And I'm actually sad that my hubby isn't on the same page. It feels lonely within my home, and yet I shine so effortlessly outside of my home. One day we will click, I hope. I think this is a really, really important subject. And the reason, one of the reasons I do is because so many women have been doing this for so long, and they have done it alone. We've talked to them. You know, in these 950 plus episodes, we've talked to a lot of them who've come out for the first time, you know, basically, and come out. And a lot of those marriages didn't make it. So I think this is a really important subject. I'd like to expand on that a little bit. I think the other thing that really jumps out at me is what you just said. When I asked you, did you have to own everything he was or wasn't or whatever? And you said it was actually the other way around. And also that you came to a point of allowance. Because when you said that, it just jumped out at me like unconditional love is unconditional love. If you're my partner, I'm going to accept everything about you. If you know what I mean? I'm going to accept everything the way that you are. And it's such a simple, profound truth. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I mean, what kind of advice could you give people like Alicia and women that are going through this awakening, or maybe been awake for a while, that are getting these transmissions and channelings, getting these directives from the ancestors, higher self and such, and not able to share that with their partner?
Well, the first thing that is coming to me in this moment is getting to a space within themselves so that they can, however that is. And so whether that's talking to the partner in a mirror, you know, journaling about it and talking with the partner's higher self. I did a lot of that. I talked to Pat's, my husband's name is Pat. And yeah, I spoke a lot to his higher self and connected in that way. As well as I had to find my voice and ask for what I want and allow myself to shift and grow beyond the picture and the walls and the borders in which he had become accustomed to knowing me as. So it's not an easy journey, and I actually have a number of girlfriends that are on this path as well, that are in long-term relationships like this as well, similar journeys.
Really?
And
wow,
we could do a sister panel. We could do a panel.
Well, you know, I think there's a reason that this is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it, I mean, I've never even thought about it, but if you think about it, it makes sense. I mean, we've had so many ladies come on here that have been doing this for 15, 20 years, you know, and to think that, God, you know, to think that there's not a significant number waking up since 2012 or whatever, that have slowly evolved and are in a situation like this. I mean, do you guys, you and your girlfriends talk about this openly? The challenge of being in the situation you're in? Yeah,
we do, and support each other, you know, as best we can without projecting, you know, and also noticing the similarities. And you know, you would ask, what can I offer? And it's to go to the deepest part of your heart and continue to listen, even amongst the the bullshit and the struggles that, 30 years of baggage and good stuff and all of that can bring, is to really attune deep within and continue to, speak and show up differently. It takes courage, it takes determination, it takes love.
I think we should do a panel. I think you should be on it. I'm going to volunteer you. And then maybe one of your friends, and then maybe pull in someone else that's in a newer, like Morgan and I, like a newer relationship that's, to give it a little contrast, because there's got to be common frequencies in all of them. There's got to be a commonality there. What's jumping out for me is, you hear people say they're not awake, they're asleep. And I really have a problem with that, but that's just my own thing. But you're in a space, well, and then you have the divine feminine, which is absolute, unconditional. Like you said, it was, you didn't know if you could do it, but you did. And you did it not by projecting on him, but by going deeper, like you said. So those two.
There was some projection.
Oh, I know. I know. But you're saying ultimately, well, you said it a minute ago. You said I stopped saying stuff, and I just went. That's what you're saying. So what I'm getting at is that it's like the epitome of the extreme of the challenge of separation, and bringing it back to where everything has to go, right? And you're doing that in this relationship, and that's the dynamic we haven't talked about. I think it would be a great show, a great show to have. Maybe Alicia.
It would be interesting, maybe, if the husbands would come too.
Whoo!
The one thing I'll say, I agree with you, and I sometimes have found myself falling in that trap of, judgment and looking like, they're not awake, they're awake, they're not awake. And we all are. Just,
of course.
At varying degrees. I mean, I still get tripped up sometimes and go back to sleep. I'd like to say that I'm fully conscious, aware, and awake 100% of the time, and I'm not yet. And I think we need to allow for that.
Yeah.
Because it's a process. This journey is, it's a process. And all of our journeys are different.
Yeah.
We can gain the similarities from one another and gain the wisdom and the insights and the sharing and that holding and support for one another.
Yeah.
And holding that space for the reemergence.
I think it's, I mean, it's they're definitely two different paths. Mm-hmm. All right. I mean, period, whether the man's awake or she's not, or whatever, all that, all you got to do is look at the honeymooners or the Flintstones. And, and so there's always been that element of, she had that higher connection, women's intuition, and he didn't. So there was always this thing about, they just don't get it. Now you even take it further, and you're in this transition in this quantum realm, and you're having all this stuff happen at warp speed, and having to maintain that core responsibility. You're taking responsibility at the core. You're not out there, spending most of your time out there projecting, that type of thing. We had a lady, a beautiful sister, come on, Karen Anastasia Riley, and then she brought her husband on, and she had her awakening like in 2003. And it was the first thing I asked him. I said, "Do you feel like Darren and Bewitched?" And he started cracking up. He said, "You know what? I do." So I mean, yeah, it would be a great idea to have the men come on if they would.
If they would, yeah.
Because that ground, I love what you said too about learning from the things we have in common. We spend so much time on the things that we don't. what do we have in common? Well, like you said, we all showed up. We're all awake. Nobody that's here, you know, isn't anything less than a valiant soul.
Exactly. Yeah.
You got something coming through.
No, yeah, no, 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 no. Acknowledging Mary Magdalene.
Yeah.
The divine union. Woo.
I'll say there's a huge tickling in the throat chakra. To me, that's a message. It's time to come out.
Yeah, I'm hearing that it's preparing the wedding bed of the divine union.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts on that? Been a lot of talk lately about the masculine has landed over the last few weeks. I mean, it's really landed.
I would say that. I was flying home from Nebraska last month. I was out there and walking through the airport. It was just like activation, 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 activation.
Yeah.
Connection, divine connection with the men. And I was like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Like everyone that I connected with, whether it was personally a look, a smile, hello, or not, it was like a whole ripple effect. It was amazing.
And do you think it's, or what kind of impact has it had on both the men and the women, consciously and unconsciously? Do you have any opinion on that or any reflection on that?
Gosh, I don't really know. I think it's the first thing that is coming to me. I think it's a mixed bag. I think just depending on where people are on their soul path and journey, it could be, very turbulent or confusing, as well as relaxing and.
Or a little of both.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little of both.
A little of both. Yeah, because it's I mean, I listen to my husband, and there's body pains, or there's different flare-ups, and he's still a little bit in the mindset of, oh, I must have slept on my shoulder, or I lifted one. Like, yeah, okay, honey.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah. Well, I remember when the Divine Feminine landed late 2015, and I remember seeing that. I remember seeing some women took it in kind of a humble way, and some took it to like an extreme, like, you know, what the hell's wrong with you guys? And then you see the impact on the men. The men weren't really scared in the beginning. I didn't see a lot of that. I saw hey, why are you coming at me, you know, kind of thing. And then it all started changing and changing. And I watched it this time, and I think it is a little bit of everything for each person, because the whole point is it's not something we were used to. See, and that's how I see the similarities, and I'm sit here and watched it in awe, the impact it's had on women and men. You know, really.
And it comes in waves. It's currents. It's light currents, right? It's those frequencies, and you know, and for those of us, at least my experience, because I can really only speak from my experience in my 50s, and I feel like, and this has been coming to me, I love what you offer, because in a lot of ways I feel like our age group, our generation, we've been waiting. I mean, we've been doing the work, we've been waiting for this all along, right? And it comes in waves,
the women,
and frequencies.
The women have been waiting.
The women have been waiting.
The women. Yeah. Well,
as well as some men have been holding.
I mean, like if you're Nikki Hammond, Nikki Hammond, and you woke up in 1975. but no, I think it's you know, I think it's true. A lot of 50-ish, they've been 5, 10, 15, 20 years awake, following the direction, and yeah, I can see where that is. But you know, I guess that's the story. It's over now. That masculine energy's landed, and things are getting real interesting now. They really are. Lawrence Wendell was on the other day. I said, "What have you been doing?" He said, "I'm just trying to get used to reality." That's basically what he says. I'm just trying to get used to reality. I'm accepting. I'm allowing. I'm doing everything I can on a conscious level to align. But the biggest challenge is that the fairy tale's real, you know, and watching the magic and not making excuses and saying, "Oh, that's a coincidence."
Yeah, and really allowing it, believing it, trusting it.
Yeah. This is a great comment, Carol Whitney. This is perfect example of what I'm talking about. I look forward to men being able to meet more emotionally, the courage to respect us, the women, and not fear the feminine power. And what I'm seeing happening is people like Miguel Dean, people I will flip the words, the courage that she respects us and not to fear the masculine power. See, that's what's freaky, is the masculine power that's coming to the surface isn't anything like we saw. And there's a power element to it that has the same type of volume of force that the false masculine did when he was kicking and screaming. You know what I mean? So it's a little strange to watch it all. But I know we're going to be all right.
I just noticed my battery.
What happened? You going out?
Yeah.
You're all right. We only got 9 minutes. We're okay.
Yeah. So because it's really, really expansive.
Yeah.
It's really held in this. It's we've not experienced it before.
No, we haven't. You know what I equate it to? When I saw, like in Morgan or other women, I saw them expand their throat chakra and stand in their power. And that's what I see happening with the masculine. it's starting slow, you know, but I see one brother stepping up or another brother stepping up, and that's what's happening. They're like saying, hey, fuck it, man. I am this, you know, and they're, you know, I got to tell you, I worked all day yesterday, and I did a radio show last night, which I haven't done but a couple in the last 2 months. I used to do them almost every day. And that's how I felt. I got the mic, I turned some music on, and I said, you know what, fuck it. I am going to just do it, you know? And it was for me, I'm not saying it was anything for anyone else, but for me, it was what I just described. It was just being that and getting used to it, you know? And I think that's what we're all trying to get used to, because it affects us all.
Right. I mean, I would say that's true for myself as well. There's this really big, you know, I've gone through this process lately of giving up the idea, whatever idea that I had placed upon myself, that spirituality and this whole process has to actually look a certain way. And I've really been embodying that, you know, sometimes it's a, yeah, you know, this is fucking amazing, you know, like bring it. And it's that, for me, that's when I'm really feeling my divine masculine really supporting and holding this container.
Yeah. You see, that's what I'm seeing in women. What I'm seeing is the masculine energy, which we all have. We know that.
Right.
It's the part of us that says, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm going to get out and do my first video on a live, you know, with Todd, or I'm going to, Desley said, who was it? I think Desley said, I think I'm going to get up and start reading my words that I've been writing for 15 years, and I've never publicized them. I'm going to make a video. I just told her, why don't you post it? She said, no, I'm going to get a microphone, and I'm just going to do it on camera. That's, to me, the masculine. The masculine is the one the part of the energy of the two that says, we're doing this. I'm going to do this. You know, I'm not going to BS around anymore. It's time to roll, you know? And I think, and I'm seeing that in women, and I'm seeing it in men too. I'm actually seeing it more in women than men. That might just be the chair I'm sitting in. But, yeah, it's getting amazing. So you saw the golden bed being made.
I did.
Yeah. That's a great sign.
I did.
The Yeshua Magdalene lineage, or consciousness or energy or whatever you want to call it, seems to be very, very prominent too over the last couple of weeks.
I'm going to Egypt in a couple of weeks on a sacred journey with a group, and I'm really feeling like that's going to be a significant and kind of important. I think you're right. I think you're right. Jennifer Victoria Bell, who actually lives here in Kauai, who I interviewed, and then Morgan and I met her for breakfast, is in Egypt now. And I don't follow a lot of people, but I've you know, synchronicity, she's popped up on the newsfeed when I flipped on the post. And man, the pictures, not even the words, the pictures of what she's showing are freaking mind-blowing. I was thinking to myself, because she was like inside of I don't know if it was a pyramid or just different temples and stuff, but the stuff that was on the walls. Yeah. And I thought to myself, you know what? Every single church, synagogue, temple, Muslim, all the Abrahamic religious institutional, local institutions that should have this stuff put before the congregation, because you wouldn't even have to say anything. All you do is just show them the pictures. That energy jumps out at you. That tells you it's a lot more than, stuff like that. Here, hang on. Let me put you closer. Yeah. Is that's Sekhmet?
Yeah, Sekhmet. Yeah. Oh, I see it now. Yeah. Yeah, that's stuff. And here's the thing about that. Now, when I looked at the pictures, there's definitely a galactic thing going on. There's definitely you can see the role of, as the star families come down, they share technology and different things with the earth beings, and then they leave. You see that, but you also know that it goes way back further than that. And that's what's mind blowing. That's like recent past. Imagine. Yeah. You got something coming in.
Lemuria, from Lemuria. Wow, deep in the, and I'm feeling yeah, the resurfacing of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The white whales, the beluga whales, the energy frequencies. Did I lose them? Hey, Todd.
Wow, this is getting crazy now. I'm not one of those that thinks, like the cabal or the Illuminati or whatever knocks us off and all that stuff. But this has been happening more and more. When we get into these subjects, it just happened on the last show. It happened yesterday, and now we're getting into this subject. Lemuria's coming in, which is where I'm sitting, and what happens? It gets knocked off. It could be getting knocked off because we're pushing someone's button, or it could be getting knocked off because the energy is so high. I don't know. But all the more reason for us to go to our own site, have our own independent stream, independent server, so that we're not under anyone's control, and we keep adding to that community. And I don't know where she went, but she's a hell of a lady, right? We're all valiant souls. Each and every one of us came here to do what we're doing, and this is our time now. This is our time to shine and expand this universe. So I just want to say thank you to Robin, and I look forward to having her again. Maybe we can have a woman's panel like she suggested and Alicia suggested, and get some contrasting opinions and see if we can't activate each other with that type of show. Be back in let's see, we're going to be back in about 3 hours with Courtney Beck out of Australia. She's amazing. She was on last month, and that'll be really, really good. Thank you all for your continued love and support and contributions. Thank you, Robin Haywood. Look forward to seeing you again if you can hear me. Peace out.